Well, good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kevin O'Gorman broadcasting from outside the Hotel Chevron, and there's quite a big crowd here to welcome Norman today. In a matter of minutes, Norman will be arriving in that huge parlour car, or all the 42 ladies who are coming down with him. 21 ladies, actually, and their girlfriends, and sometimes, on some occasions, husbands, will be coming down in the parlour car. Norman himself will be in a Land Rover, leading the bus along. The route, I think, has already been advertised. You know which way they're coming. I'll come straight down St Kilda Road, and I am now standing outside Chevron Hotel in Commercial Road, looking up to St Kilda Road, and any minute from now we'll anticipate the arrival of Norman himself. I think some of the ladies here would like to say a word or two. What is your name?
Mrs. Harrison from Brand.
How long have you been listening to Norman Swain?
Oh, well, my children are all grown up now, and I've been listening to all those years.
Now, what do you think you like about him so much?
Well, I think he's got, that personality that keeps you listening, and he does a lot of good, really, for anybody and everybody.
That's right, he certainly does.
Nothing's
Who's this lady over here? She has a familiar face.
Oh, and I'm Cinders.
Oh, Cinders, of course. Hello, how are you? You've been listening to Norman for some time?
Oh, many years.
And what is it you
well,
like
I'm
about
not
Norman?
married, but I like the way he treats the children. I love children myself, and I think he's a wonderful fellow. He is really.
He certainly is. What about over here, Mrs.?
Mrs. Boyd.
Mrs. Boyd, you've got a little boy there with you, I
Yes,
think.
he listens to Uncle Norman every morning.
Does
And
he?
one at school, Robert, he listens to.
Hello, Robert, did you say hello?
This is Ian.
Ian, is it?
Say hello, Ian.
Hello, Ian. Hello. Well, now, what do you think about Norman Swain? Do you like
I
his
think he's
morning
marvellous.
programme?
Yes, it's lovely. We're not allowed to talk while he's on the morning.
That's really something, isn't it? Anyway, any moment from now, we'll just stand by, and any moment from now, we'll see the bus coming around from St Kilda Road to the Hotel Chevron for the luncheon here. And here comes Norman Swain now, just arrived in the Land Rover, preceding the bus containing his 42 guests for luncheon at the Hotel Chevron. Norman, just come over here a minute, will you please, and tell us how you came down from the trades from the studio.
Battered and bent by the wind. There was I in the Land Rover standing up there, and the wind blowing like mad, and me waving frantically to all the girls and the men folk too, and some of the cafes up there at the top of in Coles Cafe there, though. All the kids are out there waving like
At
mad.
Prince Henry's Hospital, did you see the
Yes,
people
I
there,
saw
you
the
did?
kiddies there at the Prince Henry's Hospital, and we paused
out
there for a
waving?
while and waved like mad.
That's wonderful. Well,
And the nurses too.
Well, now, just before Norman moves inside the Hotel Chevron, we'll be crossing over inside Chevron in a moment or two, ladies and gentlemen. And Norman is being besieged by his fans, of course, numbers of them milling around and all wanting to shake his hand, so we'll get in there eventually. So let's cross into Chevron and see what happens there. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, Ron. Here we are inside the magnificent bamboo room at the Hotel Chevron, and I've never seen 42 happier, smiling faces in all my life as the ladies here today. Some gentlemen, too. Some of the husbands have come along. I don't know how they've got the day off, but they have. This was an auspicious occasion, and they've risen to that occasion and joined their wives here at Chevron, and we're glad to have them, too. Well, the announcing staff of 3KZ is here with us, too, all sitting around, and eventually we'll be hearing an item or two from them. Now, before we go any further, let's hear one from Ron Cadee. This particular number is dedicated particularly to Norman Swain on his 21st anniversary. Thank you, Ron Cadee.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Hope you like this one, Norm. Well, a long way away at the moment. Norm's a few yards down, but this is a little song that I've always been connected with in some way or another. I know that people will say, oh, no, he's not going to sing that. But I thought, well, we might change the words about and dedicate it to Norman, especially today. It goes like this. Here is the story of long, long ago. Norm popped the question and Dory said no. But at a dance, while he whirled around the floor, Norm simply asked her once more, and she fell for it. Good on you, Dory. When dear old Norm was 17, he was the waltzing king. Now the old boy at 70 still does the old-fashioned 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. When dear old Norm goes on the spree, gaily on Saturday night, he beats all the boys at the local hop without a stop. He turns like a top. He won't give up dancing. He's too alive until he is 75. Here are more greetings for you, Norman Swain, from your devoted fans, people who send you all their love. Here are just some of their names. Firstly, there's little Merca Mouse and boyfriend Reggie Rat. There's Cowboy Bill Fizzgig and Cough Cold for sure, Charlie Cheesecake and many more. Billy Bouncer sends his love to Uncle Norm, and so do the thousands of kids. He won't give up talking, he's too alive until he is 70. I beg your pardon. Until he is 85.
One of the gentlemen at 3KZ indirectly responsible for employing Norman Swain was one Mr. Eddie Balmer. For that, we don't know exactly whether to praise him or ask one of the waiters to slip him a thallium sandwich, but still, Mr. Balmer has pleased us with his presence here today, representing the management of 3KZ. As you know now, Mr. Balmer is the manager of the Brighter Broadcasting Service, and I think it's about time we called on Mr. Balmer for a word or two in praise of Norman Swain. Mr. Balmer, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, addressing my words to the great lover, Norman Swain. His 21 lady guests here today, and the 21 guests they brought with them, the members of KZ staff who are here to entertain you, and the thousands of housewives listening who are normally hanging on for every word Norman says, and they've got a lot to hang on to there because he says quite a deal. This is really a remarkable function. There aren't many people who are sitting at the head of tables where they themselves have been 21 years with a radio organization. It's made rather more wonderful here today because it's in such beautiful surroundings. Kevin has mentioned already it's in the bamboo room here, but I don't think we can let this moment pass without thanking deeply the Chevron establishment for its wonderful efficiency, the courtesy of its staff here today, and the many things that Mr. Christie has done to help us here to have a really wonderful time. Kevin touched on a small point about Norman. There were several of us who heard that first audition of his, and I happened to read somewhere recently that it was because of Swain's excellence at that audition, he was immediately given a job. I want to let you into a little secret. It was the worst audition we've ever heard, before or since. But we did feel he had something. We've been looking for it now for 21 years. And we feel there must be something there. Just to be perhaps serious for a moment, listening in this morning, and I made a list of them, and I put them in alphabetical order because they're very important people. I heard some of radio's greats saying just what they thought of Norman Swain. And although Norman is basically a modest man, I think his proudest moment must have been this morning to have had such warm, such sincere things said by some people that we hold in very high esteem, those of us that work in radio. Now, not only were those people warm to Norman, but we know also that the phone this morning was jammed by housewives phoning up to say, can they get a word with Norman? Well, once Norman's on the air, it's very hard to get a word with Norman. And we thank them all, one and all, the thousands of them that were listening today and every day to him. And because today is Norman's 21st anniversary with 3KZ, 3KZ itself feels it's high time to do something for those ladies, something that hasn't been done on radio before. And so we're very proud today to give you just a brief announcement to the effect that starting as from really Monday week, we are putting on something there in the morning for housewives entitled the KZ 1000. It's a very simple title, and it merely means a very simple thing. There's a surprise there for some housewife of £1,000 in cash. Now, Norman himself will be fairly flat tomorrow, I should think, after today, but commencing on Monday, he'll be giving you full details of the KZ 1000. There are many other prizes as well as £1,000 in cash. He'll be giving you details of the competition, and you can start sending your entries in on Monday week. Actually, that is the largest cash prize ever offered to housewives in radio in Australia. And it's larger because of this very happy day today, and the fact that Norman's given sterling work to us and wonderful entertainment to housewives, that we are including it in that time of his, 9 till roughly 12 or a little after 12, each day commencing Monday week. But details, well, listen to Norman as you always do,
from Monday onwards. We're coming to a toast to a personality that each one of us knows. I think the thing that would apply mostly to him, that all of you would agree with, is his remarkable flair for disorganization. You've heard him there when Mrs. Diddlefunkers puts out the washing and he gets 25 minutes behind in his ads. That can happen any time. Incidentally, Mrs. Diddlefunkers couldn't come today. She's seeing her solicitor again about another libel suit. But apart from his flair in that regard and his sense of humor, there are two other things that impress people that know him well and have met him a lot of times. Most of the housewives perhaps only meet him once a year. 42 are meeting him today. But those of us that do know Norman well and have known him for, well, some of us more than 21 years, some of us not as much as 21 years, know several things about him, but two stand out. One is the man's honesty. I think I can say sincerely that I don't think Norman Swain's ever told a lie in his life or ever could tell a lie in his life. Another thing is his sincerity. You would all know that one. You've all seen, today we saw an instance of it. There are many people who, young people, and not only young people, who are very grateful for things that Norman Swain has done for them personally and over the air from 3KZ in his long service with us. Now those two things make very good announcers, honesty and sincerity. You'd all agree. They make very sterling citizens as well, and they make very fine friends. Norman, we at 3KZ are very happy to have had your friendship personally and to have had your work from a managerial point of view for so long. We hope there's another 21 years of it. Now, ladies, you sang excellently before. There's a little ditty called "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow," and there's another little one about a man's beauty, which you possibly also know as well. I'd like to give you the toast, another 21 years with Norman Swain. Would you?
He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us, and so say all of us, and so say all of us. For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, and so say all of us. Hooray! 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 Why was he born so beautiful? Why was he born at all?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the guest of honor today, celebrating his 21st anniversary with 3KZ, Norman Swain.
One of the few occasions when I'm lost for words. Mr. Balmer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for that nice toast. I feel very humble about it. I have put one or two notes. Mr. O'Gorman and Mr. Balmer have been mentioning the last couple of days. Have you got your speech ready? I said, no, I haven't had time to get down to it. They said, well, we'll give you 2 minutes only, so you better get down to it. I said, no ad-libbing in this one because you'll go on for 5 minutes. I can assure you I don't feel like that at all at the moment, but I did put one or two notes down. First, thank you, Mr. Balmer, for those very nice words, and they touched me deeply. And thank you very much for drinking that nice toast to me. I want to thank Ron Cadee for that very bright and happy little ditty, and it made me chuckle, but it also made me feel very good indeed, especially with a reference to Dorney too. I want to thank everybody listening in, as well as those people here, for the lovely cards and letters, telegrams, and the phone calls that have been going on for the last few weeks. I haven't had a chance to see very many of the cards or the letters, but I can assure you that my wife and I will, for the next, I would say, 12 months with all of them, the thousands of them, spend some happy hours going through them and reading them. 21 years with 3KZ. I started off in 3KZ playing the role of Billy Bouncer. And in these 21 years, I have made such rapid progress with the firm that I am still playing the role of Billy Bouncer. But in those years, I've had many happy moments with 3KZ. That's why I'm still with them, because there could not be a better firm or a better lot of people to work with and to work for than the Brighter Broadcasting Service. And I've enjoyed every moment of it. They all know that I am a placid type and never get ruffled, never have arguments, or never lose my temper much. But it all boils down, and I'm a very happy boy today. Boy, I say, because I'm 21. In those years, before I was married, I thought I was getting along quite well. I was just drifting along and not realizing, as we bachelors used to realize, that we were getting into the old rut. And I felt I was quite happy. And then along came Dawn. And we got married. And since that day, that wedding day, I realized just what I missed in all the other years, that I was a bachelor. And she, Dawn, my wife, has helped me so much in my work and in my leisure that I realized, as I say, how much I missed previously in the years that I was with KZ, and she's helped me so very much in these latter years of married life that I owe quite a lot to her, more than she realizes. And I do want to thank her so much for everything. Thank you, darling. I do want to thank, too, the management of 3KZ for giving me this wonderful function. I don't deserve it, because others have slaved at 3KZ the same as I'm still slaving. But I do thank the management and the staff for the work that has gone into this, and especially to Kevin O'Gorman, who in the last few weeks has been working extra hard, and he is responsible in the main for the success of this function today. Thank you, Kevin, very much. I appreciate it, I can tell you. And lastly, I think, thank you for everyone that's here today, because without you, it would not be a success. And you've all been a wonderful help, and all of you housewives and your husbands and friends who've come along here. We're thoroughly enjoying ourselves, and I want it to be that way. And you have all helped to make this, for me and my wife, a memorable day. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Norman, very much indeed. Well, now, just prior to crossing back to the studio, ladies and gentlemen, I've penned a little opus here as a sort of a tribute to Norman Swain's 21 years. I'm going to ask that well-known baritone, Mr. Philip Gibbs, to help me along in this little melody with Mr. Cadee at the piano. Thank you so much. Oh, how we laughed on the day you began. You talked, and you talked, and you talked, and you talked, you talked, and you talked, till the sun did come up. We said, oh my gosh, will he ever shut up? Your fans stand in line, both the weak and the toughs. We know they're your fans, 'cause they wear earmuffs. We've heard you talk on about the ex you have sunk, and glimpsed the backyard of your friend Diddle Funk. Your songs with breaking have made all of us swoon. It's hard to pick out which of you's out of tune. Now, Norman Swain, we salute you today. We hope you will have
Thank you again.